In this section, we will discuss alarms. An alarm is a notification that occurs in response to selected events or conditions that occur within an object in the inventory. Default alarms exist for most inventory objects, and here's a couple examples of alarms. A data store usage alarm, a health status changed alarm, a CPU utilization alarm, a host memory utilization alarm. There are default alarms, and then you can create your own custom alarms for a variety of inventory objects, including virtual machines, hosts, clusters, data centers, data stores, networks, distributed switches, and distributed port groups. Let's look at the default alarms in the vSphere web client. If I select my data center and I select monitor, under issues, under triggered alarms, there are no triggered alarms at this moment. But if I select the Manage tab, now I can see the alarm definitions. This defines the existing alarms, such as a license error or a network connectivity lost. Let's now create a custom alarm. To create a custom alarm, we click on the green plus, and then we, under New Alarm Definition, give it a name, such as High CPU Utilization. And this alarm will be used to monitor virtual machines, and it will monitor for specific conditions, such as state, for example, CPU utilization, followed by next. What are the triggers going to be? If I click on plus, the trigger is going to be when virtual machine CPU utilization is above 75% for 5 minutes. That is considered a warning condition. And if CPU utilization is at 90% for 5 minutes or more, that is considered a critical condition. So what do we do about it? This is called actions. So here's what the actions are going to be. I click on plus and I select the drop down, and the action could be to reset the virtual machine, but in this case the action would be to send a notification email. I will specify my own email address, and I will have it send me an email once if it goes from OK status to warning status. If the status goes from warning to critical, I will have it repeatedly send me emails every 5 minutes. Now, if the status goes from critical back to warning, I will have it send me an email once to let me know everything's okay, or at least not as bad. And if it goes from warning to OK status, then I won't have it send me any message at all. Then I will click on Finish, and then here is my new performance counter. Let's now examine a triggered alarm. If I go to my Data Center 1, I can see there's an error message here regarding high CPU utilization. If I select Server 1, I can see there is a red error message on Server 1. If I select Server 1 under Triggered Alarms, I can see that the severity is critical and that it has reached the high CPU utilization danger threshold. So I can right-click on that and I can acknowledge it, or I can reset it to green. Here's another example of an alarm to let me know when the data store is full. To create a new alarm, I click on the green plus. I will give the alarm a name, such as data store usage, and what I will be monitoring is data stores. And I will be monitoring for specific conditions or state, specifically, for example, CPU or data store usage, followed by next. Then I will specify that the trigger is going to be if the data store disk utilization is above 75%, then that's considered a warning condition. And if data store disk utilization is at 90% utilization, that is considered a critical condition. So what do? This is called actions. I click on plus, and the action could be to run a command, but in this case I will have it send me an email. I put in my email address, and I specify that if we get a warning error message, I will have it send me an email once. Now, if it goes from warning to critical, I will have it send me an email every 5 minutes letting me know that it's a critical alarm. Now, if it goes from critical back to warning, I will just have it send me one email that says it's no longer critical. And if it goes from warning back to okay, I won't have it send me any emails at all, because no news is good news. Then I will click on finish, and there is the new alarm definition to monitor for data store usage. In summary, an alarm is a notification that occurs in response to selected events or conditions that occur within an object in the inventory. Alarms can include virtual machines, hosts, clusters, data centers, data stores, networks, distributed switches, and distributed port groups. And this concludes our section